Hey Quad Bros, what's going on guys? Welcome back to another video. This video I'm going to dive into progression and my thoughts on the progression, specifically in the American campaign tree that I think a lot of people are going to have some strong feelings about whether or not you play the Americans or not. I think you guys are going to agree with me, and a lot of what I'm saying here is going to be, just as valid for the Americans as it is going to be for the Axis or the Russians or anything like that, all the other campaigns. I think all of this feedback is relevant across the board, across the campaigns. So let's jump right into it, guys. And a lot of my feelings here, guys, they come from the M1A1 Thompson being at level 29. This is wrong. I don't think there's any other way to put it. I think that this is just wrong to have this gun this late in the campaign. And the reasonings for this is whenever you jump into Enlisted, if you're a new player, right, you're trying to bring people in. Imagine you're talking to a new player for Enlisted and they're like, oh my God, can you play as the Americans? And you're like, yeah. And they're like, oh, can you use the M1 Garand? And you're like, yeah, you unlock it at level 7. Like, you unlock it pretty early in the game. And they're like, wow, what about the BAR? And you're like, well, you actually don't unlock that to level 19. They're like, how long does that take to get to? And you're like, well, like, about like 40 hours or so. And they're like, oh, that sucks. Like, well, what about the Thompson? Like the BAR, like, okay, I guess. What about the Thompson? And they're like, well, actually, you don't unlock that till level 29. And they're like, what? And then they don't play because you don't get to use the gun that they want to use. They want to use the Thompson, man. And I know this was just some stupid hypothetical thing that went on for too long, but man, how are you going to justify putting an iconic weapon like the M1A1 Thompson this late into the campaign? How is that possible, man? How is that decision made that you're going to put the M1A1 Thompson after the Sten? You're going to tell me that the American assault teams are going to use a Sten before they're going to use an M1A1 Thompson? I mean, let that sink in. Seriously, think about that. That doesn't make any sense, man. It really, really doesn't. There's too many situations where there's just weapons that don't make sense in this campaign that the Thompson should fit in. I mean, this M3A1 submachine gun, all this thing does is shoot faster. This, for all intents and purposes, this is the exact same gun as the M3 submachine gun. Why is this in the game? Right? Like, it shoots a little bit faster. Cool. Who gives a fuck? Right? Make this the Thompson. This should be the Thompson. Why? I don't understand why it's not. If you want to have these British guns in the game, and let's just assume that they're not testing for Tunisia, because I'm starting to think that they're not, and they're going to keep these trees the way they are right now. So let's make the assumption that they're not testing for Tunisia and they want to have these British guns in there. I'm fine with that. I really am. Right? You want to have the British guns and you want to have Americans using British guns? Fine, whatever, man. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, who cares? But you're gonna tell me that you're gonna give them British guns before you give them American guns? I mean, that's just unacceptable in my opinion. It really is. I think that they should be unlocking this M1A1 Thompson way sooner. And if you really want to have a Thompson later in the campaign, make this the drum mag Thompson, man. Make this the late game unlock. Is that it's a drum mag Thompson that you unlock way late in the game. That would be fine. I'd be cool with that. But as a player and as a designer and a developer of games, like, I get it. It's hard to balance this stuff, and it mistakes can be made, but this is a really egregious mistake. I mean, as a developer, your job is to essentially give the players an experience of playing as the Americans World War II, right? That's the experience that you're trying to give to the players. That's it. And I think that this is fulfilled with the M1 Garand. I think most players would agree with me that getting the M1 Garand is a great thing. But using an M3A1 submachine gun is not. If this was the Thompson, I think that fantasy of playing as the Americans and storming Normandy, and attacking into Normandy and France and liberating France and everything like that, I think that fantasy would be fully, experienced and fully justified with the Thompson being earlier in the campaign. And so with it being so late, I think that experience is really failing. I honestly do. I don't think that it is being fulfilled. I don't think that it is justified to have it this late in the campaign. And I think that all this is going to do is push players away, and it's going to piss players off. Switching gears a little bit here, let's talk about the XP gain. So we talked about what you unlock as you level up through these campaigns, and now we're going to talk about how quickly you level up through these campaigns. Now, right now, I think the biggest problem is that the normal gameplay, what feels normal, and guys, I have played free to play in this game, okay? Premium didn't always exist. Premium used to just be a thing that nobody had, nobody didn't even exist. You didn't get that bonus XP back in closed beta. You can see back on my Twitch VODs, some of my older YouTube videos and things like that. God forbid you have to go watch those, but it did exist. And many of us closed beta players grinded through these campaigns when the grind was more and it was heavier and you didn't have premium. All right. So I know what it's like to be a free to play player. I know how that feels. I know that grind. And I also know how it is to be a premium player. And I can tell you guys that in terms of the gameplay, what feels like the normal level ups, the normal progression, the normal XP that you get, and I do mean normal in what should be the standard, it's premium. It's what premium is. And that's a problem because the pay to play should not be the standard. The standard should be free to play. And the reason for that is that 99% of players are not going to spend a goddamn dime on this game. They just aren't. That's the reality of free to play games. I don't know the statistics. I don't know the backdrop, but it's probably in the ballpark of 90% of players are not going to spend a goddamn dime playing this game. And that's who you should be catering towards. That's what the normal gameplay should be. And the premium players should be getting bonuses through the premium account and getting more XP and getting things like that, and should level up even faster than they do now. And I don't know how Darkflow feels about that. I really don't. I don't know if they're just going to brush me off and say I'm an idiot. But as a game developer, I can say that in my honest opinion, I think that progression needs to be much faster for free-to-play players, because I play this game with the premium account. I mean, you guys have seen, I pump out videos all the time, right? I play this game for 4+ hours every single day of my life, and have been for the last month and a half, and I'm not that far through many campaigns. I'm level 12, I think, in Moscow. I'm level 25 for the Americans as my highest level, but that's not even at the end yet. And I'm level, like, I think 12 for the Axis in Normandy. So I'm not that far through campaigns. I can't imagine what it's like for, you know, random guy in his 30s who works a full-time job and has 2 kids and can only play a couple hours every like twice a week or something like that. Like, that's unacceptable. You're going to sit there and tell me that guy is just never going to get to unlock the M1A1 Thompson? That's ridiculous. That is utterly ridiculous in my opinion. So yeah, I do think that XP should be increased for free-to-play players. I think that what premium is right now should be the standard. I think that if you have a good match, if you have a solid 45-minute match, yeah, you should be getting upwards of 25,000 XP. I really believe that. And if you have premium and you're doing that, I think you should be getting ballpark of 35,000, 40,000, you know? Because I don't think that many players are having that bombshell game, and I think that you should be rewarded when you do so. So if you're putting a ton of time into this game and you're not leveling up, I think that's just totally unacceptable. And I think that that's just I don't know how else to put it. I think it's unacceptable. I think that it creates a bad experience for the players, and I think that it is driving players away from this game that is actually really fantastic. So again, bottom line here, guys, is I think that XP needs to be increased for free-to-play players, and I think that the experience, the normal experience, the average experience, and what Darkflow thinks the quote-unquote normal should be free to play. That's the normal experience, because that's what most players are going to be experiencing, for, you know, to put it in a really poor way. So guys, finally here, premium squads and their costs. So I've made a video on premium squads. I didn't go over the costs. That was separate. What I went over in that video was the types of premium squads that I want to see, and I think that for the most part, most squads that have come out are pretty fair and are pretty unique and satisfy what I was saying in that video, but they are just too expensive, flat out. I think that it is ridiculous to have the premium squads cost upwards of $42 for an M24 Chaffee. That is garbage, to be honest with you guys. Even the Johnson squad that I have in Normandy is, yes, a very fun squad to play as, but for $37, I mean, come on, man. That's ridiculous. That is just absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. These squads are too expensive. I mean, the bottom that's the bottom line, and they have no right to be that expensive. I really just don't think that that is a fair asking price. I don't think that you guys should be paying that, and I'm upset that I paid it, even as a partner. And so I really hope that they decide to change things and they decide to make these squads a little bit cheaper as they have done in the past. I mean, the machine gun bundles, I believe, are $40 or something like that. I think that's a pretty fair asking price for 2 squads, right? I think that that's in the ballpark of $20 per squad. I think that premium squads should be ballpark of maybe $10 to $20 for infantry squads, maybe 15 to 25, something like that, somewhere in the ballpark of there. Anything more, I think, is just too much. I really do. And I think that the costs can vary depending on how powerful the squad is. Obviously, I don't want a bunch of $15 or $10 PPD squads running around because that's going to get really annoying really fast. But at the same time, if it's just like a bolt action squad that's kind of neat and has some interesting camos or has some interesting, weapon or some weird weapon or something like that, yeah, I think that that should be, $10 or something like that. Like a squad that costs like that Johnson squad. Think about it this way: that squad costs about $40, right? It's like $37.50. You get 4 soldiers. I'm spending $10 per soldier. Are you kidding me? Like that's like just that's insane, right? Like for a squad that's not even as powerful as the normal free to play squads, right? Like that shouldn't be that shouldn't be a thing. That shouldn't be as expensive as it is. I really just don't think so. And I think that the Moscow vehicle squads that were they were like the P-38 and stuff, they were like $10 or something like that, or maybe like 15. I can't remember the exact price or something like that. They weren't that expensive. I think that those were very fairly priced, right? I don't understand why the Chaffee is $42 or the I-16 Type 24 plane is like $42. Like that is totally unacceptable. It is way too much in my honest opinion, guys. So I really hope they lower these prices. I think vehicle squads should be ballpark of say $20 to $30, maybe upwards of 35 if it's something that's ridiculous like a Panther or some, like if they added the Mao or something, some ridiculous prototype vehicle, or like a Pershing, super Pershing or something like that. That would be fine to be like upwards of like $35 because you don't want to see like a million Pershings rolling around or something like that, or you don't want to see a million King Tigers or some garbage like that rolling around, a really powerful vehicle, because that would get frustrating really quickly. But like something that like a Chaffee that's not even that good and can get killed by a Puma, why is that $37 or excuse me, $42? That's insane to me. So I think these prices need to be lowered, and I'm formally saying that these prices are too damn high. All right. So that's it, guys. Those are all my thoughts. Of course, I have more. There are more design things, but in terms of payments, progression, premium vehicles, things like that, those are my thoughts. Hopefully put together in at least a semi-concise way. I know a lot of this kind of turned into rants, but hopefully, again, something in here is valuable to both the devs and to you guys. And let me know your guys' thoughts down below. I would love to know what you guys think. Do you guys think that I'm just totally off base here and I think, I'm going crazy? I hope not. I think that I have a pretty good perspective here. But again, let me know down in the comments, guys, if you guys agree or you disagree. And remember, if you enjoyed the video, at least always remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It does really help me out. Come over to Twitch and discuss these things with me, guys. Twitch.tv/HeyQuadro. We do a lot of giveaways. We do a lot of fun stuff over there. And as always, remember, you can also join our community Discord if you're looking for people to play with in Enlisted. All the links for those are down in the description below, guys. And I'll see you guys later. Take it easy.